Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. And today we've got 4 decks for you. We've got 2 full deck guides, one from OwlGod, the original creator of the Move Renaissance, that deck that you saw with Silk and Craven everywhere. That was originally an OwlGod creation. He is back with a brand new take on Galactus. We'll also have a deck Den put me onto that's putting up absolutely insane numbers in a smaller sample size. That is Cerebro 5. We've also got 2 decks if you happen to have pulled Zabu, and one of those if you happen to have pulled Jean Grey. This way, if you open those spotlight caches, you have something extra to do with these cards. Hopefully, you find value in this. If you do, we'd like to invite you to subscribe to the channel. Every single weekday, we give you proven decks that can help you get Infinite, help you climb in Infinite, help you get your Infinity borders and Infinity tickets, everything you need to achieve your goals in Marvel Snap right here. We are also the home of the biggest giveaway in Marvel Snap. We gave away more Loki season passes than anyone. Next week, we're starting our giveaway for the Elsa Bloodstone season because there's only a week left after this one. So we'll be starting that giveaway as well. Make sure you're subbed so you don't miss out if you find value. If you don't, hey, no hard feelings, but we do our best to bring you the best Marvel Snap content here at Snap Judge. We are looking for these 5 people. Please comment this video for your Loki season pass. We've given away, I don't know, 15 or 16 of these already. These are the last 5 people we're looking for. I believe I'm expecting an email from Tomer Greenberger. The others of you, please comment on this video. I would really like to give you these season passes. If I don't hear from you in one more day, I'm reopening the giveaway to give to other people. I will give away, at the very least, the 3 of you I haven't heard from season passes. If you are not sure how to get those season passes, pause this slide, do it. Next up, deck credits. We like deck credits here on this channel. We believe that people put in a lot of work on their decks, and we want to give credit where possible. OwlGod is brilliant. Our OwlGod is the homie. He makes constant, amazing decks. You can find OwlGod on twitter.com/owl_snap. Make sure you check out his Twitch too, which I believe is the same name, but if not, you can find it through his Twitter, so just go through that. Den put me on to the Cerebro 5. I don't believe it's originally a Den deck. I think it actually may be a Binks, but I'm not sure. Someone in the comments will let me know. I'll pin the comment. No, totally fine. Den, the great Marvel Snap Zone writer, the main writer, one of the most influential people in the metagame, put me on to Cerebro 5 as a deck that was putting up tier 1, level 1 stats in a smaller sample size. We've also got 2 other Zabu decks, one with Darkhawk if you have Darkhawk, one without Darkhawk if you don't have Darkhawk. Just as a way to, like, if you open the card, hey, here's something to do with it. All right. First up, we have OwlGod's Galactus. OwlGod's Galactus is awesome. As always, these are my variants. This is what I think is especially cool is we are lacking wave here. Our secondary win condition is not NOT going to be wave into Galactus. We're instead going to spend our turns playing Hobgoblin or Professor X instead, and then using Leader or Alioth or Destroyer to win another location. If Hobgoblin or Professor X win a lane, Destroyers are just a massive amount of power. That 15 power will still win a fair amount of Marvel Snap lanes. Or you can Leader, just take their thing, or Alioth and just win a lane. Any of these things will do to win. Basically, early you play a bunch of cards, and then by turn 5, if you Electro, you can just go Galactus and Alioth and win the game, or Galactus and Leader and win the game, as the case may be. And if you don't manage to Electro on turn 3 or 4, you've got a really powerful backup plan. I think this is great. I really love the ditching of wave. I think it's very cool. All right. The replacements. Jeff here can be Nightcrawler. Jeff is mostly a misdirection card, although it is very good with Professor X, and you may miss it in that way. Nebula can be either Sunspot or Iceman, but that's going to be way worse. Again, Nebula encourages your opponent to play on her lane, and that's really powerful when you might want to Galactus. Alioth can be Null or Death. It's going to be worse, but Alioth can be Null or Death and be just fine. That's going to, looking back, that's going to mess up your non-Galactus plan because you don't have any other kill cards. But after a Galactus, they work fairly similarly as well. Like, it's not terrible to use either one of those cards. All right, turn by turn. Galactus with no wave is the real sales pitch here. So turn 1, you want a Nebula if at all possible. Turn 2, you're playing Daredevil or Jeff. Daredevil is, again, your priority. Turn 3, you want to Electro, then your priority after Electro is Green Goblin, and then Spidey. You want a Green Goblin in an otherwise empty lane or empty-ish lane. Spidey is a card I don't super want to play here. I get what it's doing in the deck, right? But because like if clogging an opponent's lane is really powerful and making sure that they don't have something powerful where you want a Galactus is powerful, but I still don't love it. It's my least favorite card in the deck. Um, so Electro, then Green Goblin, then Spidey. And then if you Electroed, you want to play Hobgoblin. If you did an Electro, playing Electro here is totally fine. Your other plans are Green Goblin or Spidey. There's no real other fours here. So like it's the same plan as turn. Turn 5, if you can, you Galactus. If not, you Professor X or Hobgoblin. Professor X is very often better, especially if you already have Jeff out. And then if you've Professor X, it's your job to figure out either if you can Alioth or Destroyer. I don't know why I left the Loki thing here. Sorry, I left the Loki subtweet here because I've been writing that so much on different slides that I just managed to keep it on this one. Um, like I'm trying to do deck guides and it's like, how do you play Loki? Well, if you Loki, you play their deck, so I can't really tell you how to do that. Depends what they're doing. Obviously, Loki isn't in this deck. But other than that, this should be fairly straightforward. It's very powerful, very straightforward, very simple to use. You should really check it out. It's got a 60% win rate in over 100 games. This is a real, legit, really good deck. Again, in high infinite, we're talking about really top players here. One last look at the deck, and it is variant time. I've actually got the hip Hobgoblin, which is usually the one I feature here, but I like this Hobgoblin a lot. It's my other favorite. I have 3 Hobgoblins, so I use that. I figure I have 2 hips here. I've got the Nebula and the Alioth, which are both phenomenal hips. I've got the Spotlight Nebula and the Season Pass Nebula, but this is my favorite by a lot. This Daredevil just came in the Season Pass. It's perfectly fine. I think all the Daredevils are good. The yellow and black one is best, but that one never managed to show up my shop. And for some reason, whenever I count hips, I forget to count Jeff because Jeff is the 3rd hip and it's awesome. I think this Green Goblin's ugly as crap. I don't like it at all, but I also don't like the regular Green Goblin, so here we are. I will argue that this is the best Electro in the game. I think it really captures the character and looks really cool. And even though this was a Season Pass, it's one of the best Spideys in the game. We've got a real competition for Best Professor X with the Nor one that came out last week and the regular art one with the same Cerebro helmet, but I will maintain that this one with his friend slash partner slash lover Magneto is the very best. I still lack a leader variant. They should probably make one I really like. This Galactus from Al Ewing's run, I said I gave Hickman credit earlier, is glorious. I love this run of comics. Really, really am a fan. And Destroyer, I just used the Pixel. The hip Destroyer is actually in my shop as I'm recording this for another 2 hours, and I've resisted buying it because, like, this will be the first deck I've played Destroyer in 4 freaking ever. I don't really like Destroyer very much. I don't know why, but so I'm not gonna buy Destroyer because I'm a little low on gold and a little low on cash, to be honest, after all the Season Pass giveaways. So I'm gonna leave this Destroyer for now. Also, I think it's kind of adorable. It's one of the better pixels, so I don't hate it. All right, that's my variant talk. Let's get to deck 2. Welcome to Cerebro 5. Cerebro 5, which is not running 4 different 5 cost cards because, well, 5s plus 2 is 7, and 7 is an awful lot in Marvel Snap. These decks are sweet. Medusa and Lizard are 5s. Luke Cage says Lizard doesn't necessarily care if the opponent has 4 cards there. The power cannot be lowered by anything, even though it's ongoing. Silk is naturally a 5. Obviously, so are Polaris and Spider-Man and Miles. Miles gets the benefit of Silk and Spider-Man and Polaris to get cheaper. You need to make sure for this deck you're Cerebroing before turn 6, because turn 6, you're either playing a 21 power worth of Doom if you've got Cerebro out, or you're using Alioth to just win the damn game. Wave is here to make sure that they don't go too wide for you last turn, fundamentally. And you can play one of your 4/2s with Wave just fine. And Jean Grey is here because it works as like a pseudo wave, right? Like if you can make your opponent be playing in one lane and you're dropping 14 power Doombots in other locations, you're alley-opping that location, you're going to win. Jean is not a necessity for this deck, but I think she is. You're going to need Silk and Alioth, even though they're high. They're Series 5 cards. I'm really sorry. They're necessary for Cerebro 5. But Jean can be Enchantress just fine. Just, do yourself a favor. You can Enchantress your Lizard. Don't Enchantress your Cerebro. Don't Enchantress your Luke Cage. Enchantress is another 5 power card. It's just I usually find there's better things to do on turn 4. Just for the record, I don't play a lot of Cerebro because Cerebro never works for me, but this one might be the exception because I don't need the whole Cerebro Mystique thing. And this deck rocked me like 3 times in Conquest yesterday. I was playing Loki and it beats the crap out of Loki, and I was playing that Kraken Null rocks and discard stuff deck, and I couldn't get anything going. It was close, but like this deck is very, very all right. Uh Turn 7, power everywhere. 7 power everywhere is just a lot, is the basic gist of this deck. Turn 1, you skip, there's no twos. Turn 2, your priority one is usually Medusa Sip, unless Medusa Mid, unless you have Miles already in hand, then you can get Silk out. And you're fine getting out Luke or Lizard. I tend to prefer Lizard because if they fill the lane and then later I drop my Luke, it's pretty good. You're just adding a lot more power than they have. Turn 3, you can just drop Cerebro. Enchantress isn't in the meta until next week. You've got a full week of taking full advantage of Cerebro before Mobius means that everyone has to run Enchantress or Rogue. So enjoy it while you can. And then if you don't do that, you're Polaris or Spider-Maning. You're using that to try and like sort of like jam their lanes with cheap stuff up because you're going to be bigger than all their cheap stuff. So it's a real easy way to like just win those lanes, and that forces them into another lane where Alioth can just win you the game. That Spider-Man or Polaris play also opens up a Jean and Miles turn 4, or if you need to, you can just drop 2/2s. That's totally fine as well. Turn 5, you want to Wave and Miles or another 2. Jean is also good here, but if you haven't dropped Cerebro, I'd usually drop Cerebro over any of that. Not always, but usually. A lot of times 15 in every lane is enough to win. 15 or 20 is enough to win, so you can get bigger than that. You can get to 28 if you need to. Turn 6 is Doom or Alioth as the situation determines. If you know they have to play in Jean and they don't have 14 power, they're not up by more than 7 power in the other 2 lanes, guess what? Doom wins you the game. Enjoy. If you have priority and you know they have to play into Jean and you're up in other lanes and you're up there, then Alioth wins you the game. It works out great. If they can only play 1 card because of Wave, you have full control of the game. This deck is, again, sick. Probably, just having gotten my ass whooped by it, my single favorite Cerebro deck I've ever seen in the game. I think what it does is really powerful. It's really interesting. It's not as like prone, so like it doesn't just die to bad locations because Cerebro is a benefit, not the whole deck. Cerebro is a way to like go over the top, but like if you don't get your Cerebro stuff going, you're still generally perfectly fine with this deck. There's just so much power to it. All right. Variant talk before we look at our 2 less fully developed decks. I love this Luke Cage. Some people like the one that's just his head. I think this one's better. Obviously, we have our Medusa hip and our Alioth hip. I don't have a Gene variant yet. I like the Gene variants, but I just need to find the right one. I don't like Cerebro, so I didn't bother. I opened specifically for the Silk and Jeff, the only spotlights I've ever opened for variants. Somehow I don't have a Lizard. I don't know how. I've got Hip Wave and this wave, but when I like made the deck, this wave popped up, so screw it. I'd also love a Polaris. We already talked about the other Spider-Man, so I used the Twitch drop Spidey. This is my favorite Miles by far. I have like 4 Miles. Um, we've got the best Doom in the game. I also have another Doom, which we'll look at later. This deck is great. I really strongly urge you to try it. I don't think you'll be disappointed. This is another one with it from 90 to high infinite has a 60+% win rate with like a 0.6 cube rate. Also, I'm really happy to see cube rates fall back down to earth after they were at 0.9 for a little while at the start of the season. That's absurd. 0.6 is more than like historically. Now, let's say you pulled Zabu. Congrats, you got Zabu. You need something to do with them. Here's a deck. There's one other high series card in this deck besides Loki. Loki is just one of the ways you can play him. That is Iron Lad. Iron Lad could easily be replaced with Shang-Chi. You're not going to miss out on too much if you make Iron Lad Shang-Chi, or even if you add America Chavez. Basic gist of the deck is you get Quinjet and Collector down, and if you play Loki, you can play their cards. Iron Lad gives you an extra shot at Loki, an extra shot at Collector, Quinjet, Nick Fury, etc. Mystique can copy your Dino if that's the way it needs to go. It can also end up copying something you draw of theirs, and that usually works out pretty damn well. Everything else is basically just have extra cards for Loki and Devil Dino. And then you have a Doom, so you don't get stomped at the end. Every time I say Emperor Doom is the best one, I am reminded that this Doom exists. And were that Mr. Fantastic and the Thing he were playing with, I would agree. I just don't love that it's Iron Man. So I don't like it. Also, like I'm coming around to this little Pixel Coulson being better than the stupid package one. Because why is Coulson so buff? He's not supposed to be that buff. I'm still like trying to will this Zabu into my shop. That's why he's here. It's the only card I regularly feature as a variant that I don't own. I've got this Mystique and the bundle Mystique. I like the bundle one a little better. Just trying to switch things up. I bought this collector and this Fury within the past week. I like this White Queen. It's better than the base White Queen. I think it's cool that she's all diamond and in the sun. And obviously, this is the best Quinn Jet. Don't at me. And the best Devil Dino because it's adorable. I also that Devil Dino, that White Queen have like a cool little contrast going. All right, this deck is really strong. It's really cool. It's got again a 60% win rate, like everything we're going to talk about today. You should try it out if you just happen to open Zabu. If you're curious about other like Loki decks, we've done 1,000 over the past week. So just scroll through some other videos, look at the thumbnails. You're gonna see so much Loki. All right, let's say you want to play the classic Zabu. This is the classic Zabu. This is the one we always talk about. Safety originated a million years ago with like 3 or 4 cards different. Eventually, it adds Captain Marvel, it adds Spider Ham, and it adds Iron Lad, and it's great. You can add Doom to this list too if you want. This is my favorite Chang-Chi and Enchantress. I have both gold and sparkly and beautiful. That's that rock slide is the best. The rock paper scissors slide is fantastic. I just need a variant for Stature and Black Bolt. This deck is very, very simple to play. You go Korg or Spider-Ham into Zabu, into Rock Slide, into ideally Captain Marvel or Lad, into Black Bolt, into drop your hand, or drop as much of your hand as you can. Win the game, have fun. It's super powerful. This deck again remains a mid to high 60% win rate and a really high MMR. There is almost no reason not to play this deck, except that no one plays it anymore. It's still super great. And Spider Ham as a 1, by the way, just in case anyone was wondering, is fantastic. It is such a good card as a 1 again. So don't sleep on Spider Ham. So if I had this Zabu, the bottom 4 cards would all be hips, and then like I've got Hip Lad and we're almost there. Just saying. Give me that hip Zabu, everybody. All right, that's the end of today's video. Hopefully you found it interesting. Hopefully you found it valuable. If you watched this long, hopefully you'll subscribe, comment, leave a like. We'd appreciate it as always. We'll be back tomorrow with another Snap Take. Peace.